Good gaming champions. Welcome to our second episode of Best of Board Games. We have a new series coming out called Champions Unfocused, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So anyways, this week's episode is going to be all about best TCGs on the tabletop.
Woo.
And I think for most people in this hobby space, whether you're all in or you dabble or you tried it for a little bit, you got your cocaine fix, and then you decided you had to get out to save your wallet.
It's a drug.
We've all definitely had experience, especially in board game shops like here where we're filming today at Voss Media Board Game Cafe. It's impossible to go into these stores and not be exposed to one of the bajillion TCGs that exist.
I fought very hard to keep it out of my store, and then I realized I had bills to pay.
That's right.
So, because that does help pay the bills. It keeps money flowing. So, we are a board game shop first.
I know.
But it has overcame to my second spot.
It has.
So, yeah.
And so we've all had those experiences, and I'm sure most of you out there at some point have had a game like a Magic or a Lorcana or something thrown at you, and you said, hey, I'll get into this. And then you realize, wow, do I want to be poor? And then you got to make a decision. And some of us say apparently yes.
Yes.
So three of us here, we're going to go through what we think the best TCG is and why. So Shay, we'll kick off with you this time.
We'll kick off with me. I don't think it's the best TCG. I think it's my favorite TCG though.
Yeah.
And that's
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's Union Arena. I have gotten off my Crackana, mostly because of Goofy Conspiracy. We're not gonna talk about that now. But
I still don't even know what this is.
oh, it's deep. I have a whole paragraph.
I'm just kidding.
No, you low keys. Anyway,
Check it
but-
out on
Discord. It's
TikTok.
on. Oh, wait,
TikTok. Yeah, check it out on
But-
TikTok.
But Union Arena is basically this. Hey, you like anime IP? I like this anime IP. Wait, you like yours better? I'm going to fight you on my anime. Your anime suck. That's it.
That's it. As a store owner, I hate it. Not that it isn't worth it. It isn't playable. It isn't something I think is going to be. It just came out like a month ago, 2 months ago, maybe. I hate it as a store owner because you have to carry every IP.
Yep.
So you can't mix Bleach with Hunter x Hunter,
Which I
or
love.
Hunter x Hunter with JK, which is
Yeah,
Jujutsu Kaisen. You
And-
can't mix those IPs.
But that's beautiful. That's why I like it because Lorcana.
So let me ask you a couple
Yeah.
things inside.
So-
So one thing is, are there multiple colors in that? So if I play a Bleach deck and you play a Bleach deck, are we going to see the same deck?
I think you won't. I think if you look at the meta, of course you can be like, oh yeah, this is the best Bleach. But I don't do that. But there is different Bleach decks. Like I have a yellow Bleach deck, and I know somebody has a green.
So there's
deck.
colors.
There are different colors.
Okay.
How many colors are in each IP?
Well, right now for what we have green, purple, and we got green, blue, purple, yellow.
And this is every IP has those 3, 4, 5 colors.
Every IP has like 3 or 4, really 3 right now. When we come out with more stuff, they will add more colors.
You know what,
to
we're
it.
going to do like a series 2 of Bleach,
Yeah.
a series 2
No.
of JJK,
Yeah.
so you can get more cards to build your deck.
And so, but what you do is you get a 50 card deck, has to be exactly 50. You want to really pick one color because they don't have any good multicolor synergies. But you pick that and you run with that and you have fun.
So is like each color kind of a different
Vibe.
feel of like
Yeah.
a combat versus like a...
Can you mix and match colors so I can have purple and yellow in my deck?
Like I said, you could, but it's like there's not a lot of good synergy because what you do is you play cards and those cards have energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you use that energy to play bigger.
And you're going to have the color.
But you have to have the color of that energy.
So I have to have 2 energies, so I'm going to pull different cards. Gotcha.
Yeah, so
So it doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I heard there's going to be more series that IPs that does do good.
Okay.
But just right now, no, you stick with your one. And again, this is the beginning, so we don't have like there's going to be only so much decks you can make. But I love the feel of the
So a
card.
series like Bleach, for instance,
Yes.
you like that series.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many characters, right? So I know there's probably a lot, but there's only so many characters. So when I'm playing my purple deck and you're playing your yellow deck, are we going to see the exact same characters just with a purple or just with a yellow? Or
So it's not like Arcana.
or certain characters are purple.
Right. So especially like in Bleach, there's certain characters that's like Squad 0. There's a whole different line of people. There's a 13. I don't watch a lot of Bleach, but there's like 13 squad that has a whole bunch. They have their own thing. They have the yellow one I wear like Stern, right? And they're a whole bunch of different people. And so like that Bleach is more separated. I will say with Hunter x Hunter, you do have your Zordic family. You do have the deck I really like playing is the Phantom Troop. But then of course you have your Gones, your Killuas,
Of course, your Killuas. You know about all the Killuas.
your the Arios.
There's a Killuas.
They're the main three. And so
They do the thing.
yeah, so but with that said, I have fun. It's simple enough that anybody who wanted to try out TCG could
just jump in pretty quick.
Jump in real quickly, like literally.
And do you have to be like an animation fan in order to play it?
I feel like you get more. Love
pulling cards,
but if you would know whatever. And like literally, there's a person who played tonight, and he just randomly got a deck because he didn't have one yet, and like me and Harley and Nat, we all just tried it. We make decks, we all play ours, and he didn't like his second time playing. And he got like second.
Oh, gotcha.
Because
the game's still real new too. So nobody, I mean, even though they have meta decks, they haven't really had any big championships to say this is the go-to.
Right.
Like I said, my biggest problem with it is they want me to keep an IP of Bleach, an IP of Hunter x Hunter, an IP of One Punch Man, and all the time they release, and I got to order it 6 months in advance. Yeah. So my problem is with Bandai, I don't know.
If
it's going to be,
I can't wait.
If it's going to be popular enough. So as an owner of a store, I struggle with that.
And I also heard some news like they're talking about like the main people because a lot of the success is coming with the collectible side, especially with the signed cards. And like
I heard about that. That's
yeah.
And that's the people who voice it or signing it.
Yeah. Voice or signing it. So that is bringing more people, and why you have more people searching for the collectible cards. They're not going to care about really the other cards, and so you fill out the more places that will have like more cards you can play, so you can get more people to play it.
Is it going to be the Japanese voice actors or the American ones?
Yeah, Japanese voice actors. And then what's really cool is like Japan already has this popping, and so like to know what they have, like I don't know if they're gonna do it.
What other animes do they have?
Like they have more than just other animes. Tekken 7 is one of the things. Like Tekken 7 because they have Yu Yu Hakusho. They have Yu Yu Hakusho's gonna come out. I'm not gonna know all of them because some of them I don't.
My Hero is
definitely coming out. They have Koji number 8, or I'm just gonna say that I'm butchering names. But they have like a whole list of.
They need to get like Cowboy Bebop and
but see, they don't because they don't own Bandai. They got to get Bandai.
Yeah. Well, they have certain IPs that I know they have some that are only going to be released in Japan, and some that are only going to be because of the IP struggle.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of cool because from my understanding, we're reading it. We're getting cards that they currently don't have in Japan.
Yeah.
And so when the Series 2, they'll get those cards, and we'll get some of their Series 1 in the next set. So they've got a good mix of like, oh, this has never been seen before. And some of the art is pretty good on it. I mean, I'm a big art guy, and so the cards are really shiny. They're nice looking. I'm not a fan of the show, so I don't know what I'm looking at, but I'm like, oh, those are nice. Just like with One Piece. One Piece has some of the best cards, I think, in the market.
I will never watch.
And I don't watch One Piece, so I don't know. I don't know what the characters are. But I'm like, oh my God, look at this king. It looks amazing, you know.
My only concern with anything Bandai is their commitment to the card games, because I think when I look at them through history, it seems like a lot of the games they make with like, okay, we're going to throw it out there for one series, maybe one set, 2 sets, maybe.
Disagree.
And then they abandon.
Yeah, cause I would say the one that they did, I heard like that was kind of fall off like Battle Saga. That was
the only one that fell off.
But they still play Dragon Ball. They still play.
They really done Dragon Ball.
They did Fusion Wars, I think it's called now. Cool. They really play One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece.
They are, like I said, they got Unirina. They have Gundam coming out, and people are losing their freaking minds. Yeah. And so
I could tell you this: they did the beta release for Gundam, to where you have to go online and get the thing, and you had to sign up ahead of time. So I signed up, weeks ahead of time as a store to try to get it. I logged on. They sold them at 9:00. I logged on at 8:59. As soon as 9:00 flipped, I placed the order button, and they were sold out. That's how quick it was. Like, bam, gone in the Gundam. So Gundam's going to be nuts. And I'll tell you something else with Bandai. Not a huge fan, but what I love that I think their system's one of the better systems.
Yes, I agree.
And it's not even made for us that well. But their system's one of the better systems. They don't print enough, so the value of your cards are always going to be higher because it's hard to get. And every game that they've been releasing has been knocked out of the... One Piece has been crazy. It's just getting to the point where they're printing enough, so One Piece has a lot of playability now with a lot... You can go back 8, 9 sets now. And the new Dragon Ball Z, I wish I would have got into that big enough because that's very popular now too. And the cards are worth a lot of money as well. So it's not like Loricana where in the first year, their cards are already damn near worthless. Like the cards that you get are like, oh, here's a 10-cent card, here's a 10-cent card. Every once in a while you'll run across, even their top tier cards, their hard to find cards, went from $150 to now you can pick them up for $40 all day long. Where One Piece, the top sought after card, is like a $7,000 card. So I mean, they still hold their value very well because they don't overprint. So I will give Bandai credit.
They do limit printing quite a bit.
Well, because they're not sure
they're
it's
not
going to pop off.
Right,
and the problem I have with Bandai, because they're a Japanese company, and I think it's just a culture thing, that they try to look out for, when I order 150 boxes, they go, no, you really want 50.
Right.
And I go, no, I wanted 150. And they're like, no, we're just going to print you 50. Right. So they try to look out for me when they should just supply and demand. Because it's really wanted. People want it. They would buy it out.
That also gives the want. That's why
that's the value back. That's the value of it, right?
So my favorite TCG, is Unarena. I cannot wait to play a One Punch deck, and I really can't wait because they just announced Sword Art Online. I really can't play a video game within a card game. It's my favorite.
So there's one that they say the majority of people that play it are middle-aged white men. Right here. It's Star Wars Unlimited.
I mean, middle age is kind of a strong term.
That is, it's middle-high age. Wait a minute, we'll call that. High middle age. I'm about the middle of my life right now. Closer to the end.
Okay, buddy.
It's Star Wars Unlimited. And let me explain why. They took some really good points from Commander of Magic, and they said, let's simplify it, and let's make a really good game. Now, I had my doubts about Fantasy Flight. I'm a little nervous still about them. I'm a little nervous about the fact that there's only 3 dropping every year, which I kind of like because I don't get hit with it all the time. But I also see some drop-off near the end every year, every time.
The cycles.
The cycle, I see them like, okay, I'm bored, I'm ready to move on. So I do see a lot of that with the game, and I'm a little nervous at how the longevity of that, of like how many times do I enjoy the game for a month or a month and a half, and then I kind of am ready for something else, and you're not going to give me something else, so I'm kind of done moving on, especially with all the TCGs hitting you. So there's some negatives about it. However, you get a commander, and your commander could be like Luke Skywalker or somebody from the Star Wars series, and there's only 2 sets. A third one's releasing in the beginning of November of this 2024. And that looks really good. They've added every set because they do it. They add a lot of new stuff in, which is hard to just pick up and play, but I think their starter decks are the most balanced. As a TCG non-fan, but a board game fan, you could go buy just the starter decks and have a blast back and forth just fighting with those. And it kind of gives you the deck building mentality of that. And then if you're like, I really enjoy this. In fact, there's a couple guys that play with us every Sunday, and they just play with the starter decks, and they do well. So, I mean, it's not, the meta hasn't beaten up heavy enough to where Vader's not still in a pretty awesome deck. But anyway, they did a Vader and Luke is the first set, and a
what's it?
Moff and the Mandalorian, Moff Gideon and Mandalorian is the second set. And you could just buy that set for $34 and enjoy like a board game, because you get one turn, I get one action, and then you get an action, and then I get an action, and you get it. So I can't be like, oh, boom, 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 hit you for 40, figure it out. I'm like, I'm going to play this card. That is my action. Now it's your turn. You're going to play it. So it plays very much like a turn-based board game, very much like the deck builders that we like. It plays a lot like a deck builder in that mentality, because you're drawing cards and then you're playing them based on what you've got, and you can tap them to attack, and then ground can only attack ground, space can only attack space. You get a base with a certain amount of points, and the objective is to kill your base. But you can have like bodyguards, sentinels that stop you from going directly to the base. And so how you build the deck and what comes up really matters. But I found that being recently my favorite TCG. I don't play it anymore because it's expensive. And as a store owner, I could be like, I'm not selling these two cases. They're going in my, I'm not going to do that as an owner. I'm going to give them to my community and let my community continue to grow.
Right.
Yeah. So with my favorite, I would say that is by far currently, I think, and even people that play One Piece in my store, and other games say that is the best TCG on the market right now as playability, because of how back and forth and how you go, and it's really good.
And one thing I like about it too is that I like, it's kind of the same thing with video games in that I'm fine with micro transactions that are fixated on cosmetics, things that at the end of the day don't really matter. It's a nice showpiece. And that's what I like about Star Wars is that their chase cards are cards that are pure vanity. It's literally just the showcase, literally a showcase card.
It does the same thing
does nothing different.
Does the same thing the other leaders do, the commons and uncommon leaders. Does the exact same thing, even the legacy leaders, except it's borderless and got shiny and it has a different art on it. So it's and it's harder to find.
Exactly.
And I will say that currently, hopefully knock on wood somewhere, that they are holding their value, but it's only their second set. So it might be a little too early to tell.
But that's the problem with games like Magic is that, if you need a mythic card, like you are going to pay, unless you can open enough packs to randomly find those cards, and then you need 4 of them. It's like, I mean, you're either stuck spending $800 to buy that card that you need 4 of that's running for $200 a piece, or pray to God your luck is unworldly. And to me, I don't like that. I don't like games that are built around taking advantage of FOMO or the need of something to have a better deck. I like games that are built around give me the cards.
Well, will say that the legendary ones are sometimes stronger and harder to find.
Well,
so they still have the hunt card mentality. That's why they want to buy the deck and so forth.
They do.
And what it gets down to right now, where people are like, just got balk upon balk upon. It's crazy right now with Star Wars, but some of the legendary stuff are still worth some money. So I hope they continue that balance. My problem is every time a new set comes out, there's another set of rules that completely changes the game.
New keywords.
And I hope that they don't break it. Because it's such a good game, and it's such the starter decks are so good balanced back and forth. Like Luke adds shields and Vader takes them, does the damage to take them away. So that back and forth is so good on the secondary that alone is good. Like I said, for $34, I would buy it and just play those 2 decks back and forth and be like, okay, no, you be Vader, and I'm gonna, that kind of thing. So I think the game itself as a TCG is closer to a board game feel than any TCG on the market that I've played, at least, and I've played a lot of them, only to kind of check them out. But Union Arena being rather new, that's why I was asking questions. I'm unfamiliar with how a lot of that works.
So kind of giving the journey of my number one.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely some recency bias because I bought a lot of Star Wars from you, and I've had a lot of Star. My wife would disagree. But
you said coming in November.
But I definitely think there's recency bias. But I have thoroughly loved Alter TCG. I didn't back it in Kickstarter, ironically enough. I wasn't that interested in it, and then a friend of mine went to Gen Con this year, 2024, and he bought it. And he's like, wasn't expecting it. It was my game of the year at Gen Con. And I'm like, wow. And
I've watched it played. I like some of the mechanics of it.
So for those of you who don't know, because it is still a very new game, it has a lot of mechanics that are familiar to you. So the mana system or the energy system is similar to Star Wars or Lorcana. You have to draw 6 cards in your hand to start the game. You have to put 3 of them down as your energy. Yep. And then every turn, at the end of the turn, when you draw, you'll draw 2 cards, and you can put up to 1 of them down. And that's how you'll build your energy.
Sounds a lot like Star Wars.
Star Wars, Lorcana, just like it. Just like Star Wars, it has 2 different lanes that you're going to play on.
Okay.
So where, Star Wars has land and air, this one has hero and companion, because your hero has both themselves and then a companion piece to it. And the objective of this game is you are trying to, in both lanes, win them and there's 3 resources on every card. There's land, there's mountain, and then there's water. So how you move your pieces, the objective is to meet your hero and your companion in the middle of the board.
And whoever or wherever on each other side,
just meet them together.
Just meet them somewhere along.
When your hero and companion are on the same piece of land, you win. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And they're simple, quick games, 10, 15-minute games. I like it. But what I love is that there's so much calculation in what lane do I put things in? How do I build things? Because just like Star Wars, I do an action, then you do an action. I do an action, you do an action. I really like that. But the cool part is that, again, there's 3 phases. There's more, daytime, afternoon, evening, and that's where you play through the 3 phases. The beginning phase is where you'll draw your cards, you'll do any actions. Then they have afternoon. That's where you'll have land cards that you can play up to 2. Those might have actions that happen at afternoon or noon. I'm sorry. Afternoon is where you'll each take your turn playing cards, and they have values. This game, what's super unique about it is that after you both have played all of your cards, used all of your, we'll call it mana, after you've used it all, well, now you have a decision because the board gets swept. So you'll calculate your points, see who won each lane. If you won the points for the element that you needed to win, you get to move your piece. So in theory, both people can move their pieces in the same turn, as long as if I have to win if I'm on a land piece and you're on the grass piece, well, if you beat me in grass and I beat you in land, we both, in theory, can move forward with our pieces. So part of when you're playing is, how do I get what I need to move my piece, but also how do I play something for you to not do that? So there's a lot of different ways that you can play the game, whether it's aggro of trying to just focus on yourself or more of a control. There's 6 factions, but like I said, what's really cool is that you get a reserve pile, and every card you can play from this reserve pile. You can have up to 2 cards in reserve. And not every, but a lot of the cards will actually be stronger if they're played from reserve.
Yeah, I liked the reserve element in that one. Mm-hmm. When I was doing the research, I liked the fact that when I had to clean my board, I can move some to reserve, because one of the biggest problems I have with TCGs is that I've got this really powerful card, but I'm going to have to resource it, or it's not really going to give me the full benefit. And so I don't really know if I want to play it because it doesn't do X that I need it to do, but it's really powerful. So do I save it and then play it when it's powerful, or do I play it right now? One of the things there is you could play it now, then move it to your reserve, and then bring it back out and play it later, when it is powerful, which I kind of like that.
Well, and the other thing too is, like, there's nothing worse when that opponent plays that one monster card. And you're like, I've got nothing that can defeat this. Well, that's what's great about this game is that card comes off, and there are tricks, and people are trying to find ways to find infinite loops of moving it from the game board back to their reserve and stuff, but there's nothing yet that can really break the game. And that's what's great about it, is because they may trounce you in one round, but everything comes back off and everything gets cleared up, and then you can come back at it the next round.
One of the things I also enjoyed about the cards is the arts on them are pretty nice. The art is done really well.
There's no dedicated IP to it.
That's my biggest problem with it. I think is I didn't find anything connect me to this world. Star Wars connected me with my history of Star Wars, right? The IP of Star Wars. Same with Lorcana. I could understand Disney, and I'm like, ooh, I'm playing Lion King Arena. But that's what you're into.
I'll tell you what, the one thing that I will really highlight that I think also makes Altered very unique is the deck construction, which I think is very incredible that no other game does. And that is, when you build a deck, it's a 40-card deck. Now, you can have more cards, but obviously, as you know, you never want to do that. There are requirements. You have to have 21 common cards, just the standard. And that's great to me because, let's be honest, if a game's been out for 5-6 years, nobody plays with the generic cards anymore. You have to have the higher tier cards, or your deck is going to lose all the time.
There's a few commons that get you, commons or uncommons that get you to where you need to be, but it's too
very rare.
Right?
It's too, especially when you put in your deck. You don't want to not put that many strong.
If you're playing Magic and you do like Pioneer, which is like 10 years of card, like if you have a common card, you are going to lose because everything is going to be mythic for sure. So to me, I love the fact that it's a requirement that you have to have 21 of the common cards. you can only have 15 of the rare cards, and then the top tier card is called uniques. Well, this is the thing also that makes this game different, is every card has a QR code in the bottom of it. And to play in a tournament, you have to own the card. So they have an app, you scan it, that keeps track of your whole inventory. And what's really, really cool about this game
And I hate that because of that. But anyway, go ahead.
But because every unique is unique.
I understand that.
You'll never
The
find
problem I have is like they also don't do shinies, which I love to open a pack and see a shiny. I don't even care what it is. I don't care if it's Pokemon, which I don't even play. I still like to get the shiny. I'm like,
But-
check this shiny.
But they
But
give you foil cards.
But you have to get them printed and sent to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
so,
you get to pick which ones you want.
but yeah, is that not?
And I ordered, I opened a Kickstarter box because the Kickstarter boxes came with all the heroes that were foils because I wanted to see what they look like. And they have, in my opinion, the best kind of foiling because it's not the whole card is foil, so it's gonna look like a Pringle card. It is the accentuation with the highlights that make things pop and draw your eye.
Well, then at that point, it's the same card as what you're playing with, except it looks better. So you're going back to the Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
But you get to pick. So randomized in card packs, you'll open them and they'll actually come with a QR code, and I'll say common or rare or unique, and then you'll have the ability online to take that and pick whichever one of your cards you want that apply to that level of rank, and you can get them however you want. The other neat thing is if you open a really cool card, you can have more printed. So if Shay wants to play with me, he's like, oh, Matt, can I get a copy of that? I can actually, even my uniques, I can have some uniques printed and give them to Shay, and now he can have a set if he wants them. Now, he wouldn't be able to play them in a tournament because to play them in a tournament, you have to show that you own it. So for him to play it in a tournament, he would have to have me transfer ownership to him in the app to prove that he owns it.
You couldn't play with it.
I wouldn't be able to play with it. Now, that's where people are selling stuff online. And in fact, they're not even selling the physical cards. They're selling the digital ownership of the card. Because then when the print shop opens, people are just going to print their cards.
Yeah, when someone was explaining it to me at an event we were at, they said it was like, what were those memes and everything they were selling online that you can...
NFTs.
It's an NFT. It's kind of like an NFT card game.
No, because
TCG.
Because the other
is what they
thing
were
that
saying,
and I think Keyforge dropped the ball on this because Keyforge could have really done this too.
Well, they do.
Which
where you
is
scan it and you got everything gets added and you play it digitally.
Well, because Board Game Arena has a real they worked with Board Game Arena, and so with all of the cards that I've scanned in that I own, I can go on Board Game Arena and it has all of my cards that I own. So I can go in there and build decks and play with anybody across the world, which is great for somebody like me who can't usually get to card shops to play. So I can sit late at night, construct decks, play against random people. But what I love is I know that they're only playing with cards that they own too. So it feels more real, like I'm playing somebody in a shop, because they can't play with cards they don't own. They can only come with the stuff that's in there.
And I know it's the new hotness. The reason why we didn't add it to this community is because nobody really asked for it.
Yeah.
Like I had one person, I think, which was you, were like, hey, do you carry this? And I had a big order placed on it, and I backed out of it because I was like, I just don't see...
And I don't know where it's
getting legs.
I don't know where it's going to go, but it was the biggest Kickstarter in history.
How many people show up at the card shop you're currently at? How many people do you guys show up there?
We've got about 10 people on Saturday nights.
Really? Oh, that's actually pretty not bad. That's a reasonable show up.
Yeah, and again, it's still in its infancy. It just went to retail, about 3 weeks ago.
But I know this. I can order boxes right now. I mean, so it hasn't been selling out everywhere, which is good and bad. Good because you can get the product. Bad because that means not everybody's playing the game. Yeah.
So, and like I said, it's very popular online.
Yeah.
So that's what I wonder a little bit with it too. But again, the chase of it is that with the unique cards, again, when you open a unique, you are the only person on earth who has that card. There is nobody that has a card that does exactly what yours does. So it does add that element of when you find one, it can really change the game for you. So I think that's pretty neat.
So I'm thinking, when I'm listening to this, is that, maybe we buy some starter decks of our favorite TCGs and we just, play each other. Like, I don't like to play Altered. Or, I would love to play. I played Star Wars, and I can play it again, and
it's fun.
I would love.
I've never tried Union Arena, so I might pull that as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think the key point of this video is best of TCG is go support your friendly local game store. Go
Really?
buy some cards from them. There's a lot of online stuff that you can do, which is great. But definitely, like you said, you got to go buy the hard copy, which that makes me excited about, from your friendly local game store, and support them and buy packs and get addicted to one of these, because you alone can support an entire store.
Yes.
Trust me, I've supported stuff.
Hey, I don't even buy boxes, and I'm thinking about buying a box today.
So even as a non-TCG lover, there's a game out there for everyone.
It really is. Yeah.
Go to your friendly local game store, see what kind of events they are running. We run about 65 events a month, and about half of them are card games.
Yeah. Now. Yeah.
Well, and here's the beauty is if you don't see one right now that you like, don't worry, because 15 more are coming next month.
Oh, man, there's so much coming out next year. I was reading there are so many coming out next year. It's ridiculous. And there's already a lot come out this year. So,
right. So definitely, if you made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you for bearing with us. And most importantly, if you can leave a comment below, let us know what game you like. What's your favorite TCG?
And
what's
why?
the best of?
And why?
And give us your comments, and we'd love to interact with you down below. And of course, if you have the ability to, we'd love to like and subscribe if you have that chance. So with that said, gentlemen, champions,
Never
stop.
Why do you have to say stop? I wanted to say stop.
Okay,
I mean, go to
again.
the circle.
Take two. Champions.
Never. Stop.
And then you said,
I said stop.
right.
Playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way better.
Yeah,
We did it.
Now let's do it. Let's do it for real. You already?
Champions.
Never.
Stop.
Playing.
There we go.
There we go.
There it is. There it is.